Yo Rebels, I recently pre-ordered Star Wars Outlaws Gold Edition, which means I get to play the game 3 days earlier than when it releases. And that day is today. So I've played around 3 to 3 hours and 15 minutes, around 3 hours I've played this game. And today I'm going to tell you everything that I have experienced so far of the game, and then you can decide if it's worth it or not worth it. So we need to start with the gameplay. So the game has a very familiar feel to it. For me, it kind of feels like Assassin's Creed Mirage made a baby with Watch Dogs, and that is what we got Star Wars Outlaws. Now the reason I say that is because the combat reminds me of Watch Dogs and the parkour reminds me of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Yes, there's parkour in this game. I didn't know that either when I went into it. I was very surprised. Anyways, the combat does really remind me of Watch Dogs. So the way you shoot, the way you fight, it all just looks very similar to Watch Dogs. And then also you have this little pet alien called Nyx. Now Nyx is basically like your phone in Watch Dogs. So what you can do with Nyx is you can like hack into systems, but instead of hacking with your phone, you send Nyx. He can open the door for you from the other side and the door will open. Or if you're too lazy to go grab loot, you send Nyx and he go grabs the loot, bring it towards you. That's what Nyx is for. Also, we need to talk about the game's open world. Now, the game's open world looks amazing. Graphics-wise, the game looks amazing from far away. But as soon as you get up close to something, for some reason, I don't know if it's just a PS5 thing, because I haven't played the game on PC, but if you look on the PS5, everything looks like, what's the correct wording, like smudgy, grainy. It doesn't look very attractive from up close, but when you're far away in the open world, everything looks so beautiful. So that's something that doesn't really make sense to me, but at the end of the day, the game is not about the graphics for me, it's about the story. But when we also look at the open world is really dead. Like, honestly, most people are just at the cities. And you know what's sad about the cities is you cannot use your weapons or any combat related stuff in the cities. So if you were thinking you're going to go GTA style in a Star Wars game, you cannot do that, unfortunately, because that's the first thing I tried out. I tried shooting up some people, and I can tell you this much, it didn't work. But outside of the cities, you can use your weapons, and you obviously have your bike as well that works like the horse in Red Dead Redemption, or like the camel in Assassin's Creed, or whatever. But it's a bit strange. You can call your bike and then you can travel in the open world. The open world feels a little bit dead because there is not much in the open world. It's mostly just plants growing. There's speedsters racing here and there, but that's about it. It really feels like I'm the only person in the game. But yet again, the thought has come over my mind that isn't that how it would be in the Star Wars universe? Because if you think about it, there is millions of planets in the Star Wars universe that people can be at. Why would people be roaming around in the open world? And yes, you do have a spaceship to travel to different planets. So far in my gameplay, I've only traveled to one planet and one spaceship. But, I mean, the spaceship, it plays like any other spaceship in any other video game, which should be expected, but for some reason, I expected that the spaceship is going to be way cooler because this is a Star Wars game, but at the same time, I shouldn't have expected that because what else can you do with a spaceship except for letting it do spaceship stuff? And then the last thing about the gameplay, something I want to complain about that has been annoying me, is the directions in the gameplay. So on the directions, you will get a compass with a yellow marker and you need to go towards that yellow marker. And that will take you to your main quest, your side quest, or whatever you have marked on the map. But they wouldn't show you the obstacles in the way. The map also is pretty useless. It's basically like the first Jedi game, you know, you couldn't really use it much. So the map is there and then you have your compass. But when you get towards where you need to be, you're going to see that this wasn't actually the way. You need to go find a way all the way around or all the way at the side or wherever to get in the location that you need to be. But the game doesn't really give you direction saying this is where you need to go, this is where you need to go. So sometimes there's like vents you can go into, but then the vent will just take you to the opposite side of the map. And I don't know why it's so close to the objective, which would be pretty frustrating, and that's something I want to complain about in the game that I don't like. Because in these RPG type games, I really like to know my directions. So it would have been nice if they had a little bit better direction. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're close to the objective, just show like a little yellow line or something that could help you just a little bit more, not a little bit more, but just to save you some time. Because remember, this is a extremely stealthy game. You can go in combat blazing, or you can go in stealthy. Obviously, if you go in stealthy, the game's gonna reward you. If you go in combat, it's not gonna turn out well for you because you do not have a lot of HP and you will die really quick. Ask me, I've tried it and I've died a couple of times. So you need to go in stealthy. This is the whole point of the game. Like, I'm not complaining about that. I knew when I went into this game, okay, I'm playing like an Assassin's Creed type game, but it would have been nice if they just gave you that direction so you can save a little bit of time, because you know, there's people out there working 9 to 5, there's people going to school, and all this stuff, so everybody doesn't have that time to figure out how to actually get to the objective. But also when it comes to the story, the main story, it seems like there's a lot of potential where I'm currently at. The reason I say a lot of potential is, currently in the main quest line, they're letting you do a lot of unnecessary stuff. Like, they're going around the main story. Like, the main story itself sometimes feel like you're doing side quests for some strange reason. Like, just go pick that up real quick, and you need to drive all around the planet to go pick up something and then drive back. You see, it's like extremely pointless stuff that I added in the main quest line that doesn't make sense to me for a main quest, and it feels a little bit unnecessary. But I also have to say, I don't think the main quest is going to be extremely long. Because remember, like I said, I'm around 3 hours into the game, and then around 3 hours into the game, I'm already 28% in my main quest line. So that makes about 10% for every hour, meaning in 10 hours, I could possibly finish this game. So I don't know if the game value and the main quest line is going to add up together, but currently it doesn't seem like it. Because who wants to pay 60 bucks for a game that only has a 10-hour main quest line, and then the rest is all side quests? Another thing you need to know about this story is it's basically like the Far Cry games, but they tried changing it up. I have to give it to them, they did try. So there is obviously, as always, your 3 different gangs, but instead of you needing to kill all the smaller ones and then go kill the main gang member, this time you need to go work for the gangs, and then during their missions you can decide to either betray them or not betray them. And that will give you reputation. So the reputation will give you rewards if you get higher reputation. But if you get lower reputation, well, I don't know yet what's gonna happen. But I just got a bad reputation with one of the gangs, so I'll find out soon. But it doesn't feel like at the end, if you're at a really high or a really low reputation, that you're going to battle the main boss of every gang. Because like I said, you're not battling the gangs, you're doing quests for them, and then in that quest you can decide if you want to betray them or not. So it just feels like it's going to be an endless loop of side quests until your max reputation, or until the game just stops giving you the side quests to do the reputations. But I mean, the rewards do look pretty rewarding, so I would say it is slightly worth it going for our main quests before you finish your main storyline, because it seems like those stuff will help you with the final boss of the game, or whatever, however the game's going to end. So my personal conclusion of this game is, I wouldn't recommend buying it on full price, but I would recommend buying it when it's on a good sale. The reason I'm saying that is because this game is nothing like new. The graphics isn't next gen like I expected. I just recently finished Black Myth Wukong, and in that game I couldn't tell apart from a cutscene and gameplay, but in Star Wars Outlaws I can clearly see the difference between the cutscenes and the gameplay. And then with the story that seems like it's not going to be as long as I expected. I expected at least a 25-hour story. It seems like this story is going to take you around 10 to maybe 15 hours, depending on what type of gamer you are. But if you're an extreme Star Wars fan, this is a must get, because this is apparently canon towards the movies and the other TV shows about Star Wars. So you need to get it to figure out what's going to happen, because this game plays off between 2 different movies. I'm not sure which 2. So I hope this video could have helped you decide if this game is worth it for you or not worth it for you. Like I said, for me, not worth it with full price, just because of the stuff I've mentioned right now. I'm not too intrigued with that, but maybe it will intrigue somebody else. Maybe somebody wants something they've already experienced before. There's a lot of gamers out there who likes going for stuff like this. But for me personally, it's a no-go. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Be sure to smash like, and GG gamers.